Okay, seeing that it's 7 o'clock, we'll open the meeting of the Halifax Planning Board for December 19th, 2024. The meeting's taking place at 499 Plymouth Street in Halifax at the 7 o'clock meeting in the Selectmen's meeting room. It's an open meeting, and announce the time that it's open. Also, the planning board meeting is being recorded by Area 58 and can be viewed on YouTube. We have copies of the agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor of accepting the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Oh, okay, unanimous. All right, what I plan on doing, since we have town council here with us who's coming from a distance, I'm gonna take this out of order and go with the appointments regarding the Delia Way discussion. I know there were several questions. I was away on our last meeting, but I did watch the meeting itself, and there were several questions, and hopefully, according, to our notification from the selectmen and whatnot, we need town council present and the town administrator in order to discuss Delia Way. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
if I could interject for a minute, I also wanted to go on record as having watched the meeting online, because I was not at the last meeting as well.
All right, there was a bunch of different questions where lack of understanding or whatever, it just didn't seem right, didn't seem to come across to the board members, with enough information. So maybe let's start off with, if it was with the current status, with the covenant still in effect on the lot there, holding things up, how do we go about, I guess, having the covenant removed? Or how does that work, so that we know legally how that can or maybe cannot be done?
Yeah, sure. So let me start with maybe a little synopsis of it, of where I think the information you're looking for. And then if there's further questions, let us know between Rich and I. We should be able to answer them, hopefully. So right now there's the restrictive covenant on it, on the property, which doesn't allow them to sell the property because the board has that covenant. And you would typically release it once their work has been completed on the road, which would allow them to sell the property, and then they could do what they please.
So it has to be in that order, if I don't mind interrupting.
That's how it is right now.
Okay.
What we would, in speaking with Attorney Huxham, what we would recommend is, if someone were looking to have that covenant released so they could sell the lot and develop it, we'd recommend that the planning board have the peer review engineer provide an updated cost estimate for the road. So let's say, that was done in 2019 or 2020 was the last one. Get an updated cost estimate, whatever that number is, require a bond from the individual who currently owns the property or someone on their behalf. That would allow the planning board to release that covenant. The property could then be conveyed, and then you would agree to a time frame with the owner. You'd give them, however long, it would be the board's decision, 18 months to 24 months to get the road completed. And then if they didn't, then you would at least have that insurance of the bond that would allow the town to move forward and complete the road if it wasn't completed.
And can I ask a question?
Sure.
If they put up the bond and then they completed the task, they get refunded that money of the bond?
Yeah, we release the bond. The bond
Okay.
will be released.
So it's not like we're just paying them, they're paying the bond just for the sake of like an insurance policy.
That's basically, yeah.
It's an insurance policy, but you get a return of premium back.
Yeah, so we would have to be provided with the bond in the amount of,
The insurance company isn't gonna return any money.
no, we would release the bond.
You'd release the bond, yeah, that's
But the
different.
that's what I mean.
premium is not
Yeah, I
being
just
Well,
wanted
the
to-
premium has nothing to do with.
No, I understand, but I think that was the,
The question is
question,
if the
yeah.
bond that the town's gonna require is 10 grand, and then they finish the property or finish the road and get it released, then you would get the $10,000 back.
No.
As an example.
No, so the company that they go through would require a premium. I
Yeah.
don't know what that would be, because it would depend on what the bond amount
Uh-huh.
had to be. And then that would be they wouldn't get that back. That would be a premium they had to pay for that bond.
Yeah, the premium, but the
Yeah.
bond in and
Yeah,
of
we would
itself.
release the bond itself as long as the work was completed to the specifications. You'd have the same town's peer review engineer go
Yeah.
out, sign off, highway department sign off. And if everything looks good, you would then, the planning board, like you would release the covenant of the lot, you would release the bond.
To make this less onerous, because this is gonna be an expensive project, and this could ultimately be a win-win for everybody, especially the town. Is there another way to do this? Could we transplant the covenant or the
No,
Transfer the covenant.
transfer?
we can't, we shouldn't do that as a town.
What do you mean by transfer?
You know, to prevent Mr. Sylvester in this particular instance, we'll assume it's gonna be him. To prevent him from selling it or developing it or anything else, trying to make this as palatable as possible to get it done for everybody. Throwing another 10 grand at this thing, you know, could be a deal breaker at the end of the day here. I was just wondering if there's another way we could do this without an actual performance bond.
Well, I mean, so the subdivision control law, chapter 41, section 81U, has the different forms of, performance guarantees. Covenant, bond, tripartite agreement, deposit, something like that. So, right now, there's the covenant, which says you can't build upon or convey the lot until the roadway and utilities to serve the lot are done. So, the problem in the past, and not just here, lots of other towns too, you know, is that lots get released and there's only one left and it's, the work's not
The worst
done.
lot, yeah.
So, the main thing, I mean, from my perspective, is, you don't release the lot until the work is done, cause that's like the problem, that's like stating the problem again. So, what Cody has said, I think it makes a lot of sense as a solution, to substitute a different form of performance guarantee, which the subdivision control law says can be done. So it makes a lot of sense. So you get out from under the, covenant, you know, it can be built upon or conveyed, cause you have the bond substituted for the covenant.
Can a deposit be done? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Can a deposit be made
Yes.
instead of a bond? Because it just to pay a bond and the insurance on it to not get that back for somebody that's not a developer that's genuinely trying to get the project done to solve a problem just seems like it might be a little bit better on them.
But the deposit would have to
To
be
be
the
the full
amount of
amount
the
of,
work.
yeah, so that
That's
doesn't.
what-
Yeah, but at least you're getting it
I
back
don't-
though.
I don't-
Oh, in the amount
It's a lot-
of work.
I have no issue
Mr.
with
Sylvester,
that.
hold
I have
on,
no
hold
issue
on,
with
Mr. Sylvester, please.
Okay. So you're saying the deposit would need to be in the amount of the work being done.
Cost of the work.
I mean, if it's gotta get spent on the work anyways, you just front it, it sits in an escrow account, but at least now you're not getting charged an extra surplus of a premium that you're never gonna get back.
Correct.
Okay. So that's a option.
Is it?
Yes.
So if the road's gonna cost 200 grand, he writes a check for 200 grand, it sits in escrow, that then goes towards the production of finishing the road, which you were gonna put towards it.
No,
It doesn't go towards it, they'll just get
It
it.
has to sit there, understood.
And
Until the
then
road work's
actually,
done.
as the work is done, the board's consulting engineer can sign off on parts of the work that are done. That's
To
what we
release back some of
would-
the.
Exactly.
So that way he could pay the contractor
After it's done.
as he's doing the work.
Oh, while it's being done?
Yeah.
While it's being done.
If I understand that correctly.
So that being the case, then all we really have to do is come up with a number that works. That, I don't know if you actually got a quote, I believe you did.
I'd recommend that the town use, you know, the peer engineer that we've used in the past in that area, because that's the one that would also be reviewing it on your behalf.
Right.
To make sure that, you know, okay, we're confident that you can release this much, or we're confident the project's done.
No, that would be a given.
But the last estimate we had was, as far as the town was concerned, was 2019, 2020,
2018, 18.
18?
That range, yeah.
So I believe you have a contractor you got a quote from, is that correct?
Mhm.
That's how I
I
understood.
have
You have it with you? That we'd have to bounce that off the review engineer to see if that satisfies what we need to have done there. Work in conjunction with the highway surveyor at the same time, I would assume. Because if there's anything that has to be massaged or whatever, they could come to some kind of an agreement to keep the cost at a point where it's doable, is what my thrust is here. I want to make this so that we can get it done. Even if, in my case, even if it wasn't 100% to the original standard, anything
better than what it is,
better
right.
than what we got. So I just wanted to make sure we had some flexibility in there to be
And-
able to make this work.
I would understand why a contractor that is developing a whole, subdivision like that wouldn't want to go the deposit route, right? Because it's, kind of tying up most of their working capital. But for a resident that's trying to get it done, that's going to put that money towards it anyways, the deposit might be more cost efficient, surprisingly, than not having to pay those premiums that you're never going to get back. And at least the town's covered, because if you walked with it, then they're just sitting on call it 200 grand. They're sitting on that 200 grand saying, you're lost, buddy.
May I speak?
Yeah, go ahead. Your name and address, please.
Bruce Sylvester, 5 Dealer Way. So for the whole bond issue, well, let me backtrack here.
Oh, can you hold on one second? I just want to get a little legal advice. If he's represented by counsel, can he speak to the board if no problem?
But
Thank you.
Rich and I are here really speaking generally.
Yes, that's
It's nothing
what I was
specific,
getting at.
Whether it's, this particular case or someone else in
Okay,
the future.
I didn't want to get in that kind of.
No, I just, at the other day, a resident just want to get it done. It's really not a big deal to get the road done. If I have to get a bond, I'll get a bond. I prefer not to get a bond. I'd rather put money up, go into an escrow account, because it's just, the road's gonna get done. But setting precedents, bonds should be taken on the roads because of the situation that we're in right now. It's ridiculous. I've got some binders here. Can I hand them out to you folks?
Sure.
Like that. Pretty simple. There's not much to it. I'll get one from you guys.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll do it after. So, in there you've got the cost. It's pretty simple. The cost is not gonna change from where it was in 2018.
Really? I'm surprised.
No, as far as, the work is not going to
Oh,
change.
the work that has to be
Since
performed.
2018.
Oh, I see.
So,
Council.
engineering, so you had come out, okay? They did their whole report here, what needs to get done. Basically, there's a few different options. Besides, fixing the grates, things like that, raising the grates, all those things, pretty simple. It's either remove and replace the damaged binder that's there, or just, mill the whole road down and just put a whole new binder on, do the whole thing, do it all over again. So I basically base my estimate off of doing the whole road over. So if we go to, let's see here. So the highlighted, the little yellow tab there.
You guys
that
want to
was-
take my copy and look through it?
So you guys wanna see?
That's your estimate now.
Yeah, no, this is not my
Oh,
estimate, this is still
2018.
Amy's, okay, but this here is what they were saying, total milling, okay? Forget the number, okay? Just look at all the line items that are here.
Yep.
All right, the number is the number I'm doing, they're just estimating, there is no, the number is what I got from SLT to do the work. So now if you go to the second tab, okay, this is the SLT estimate, okay? You'll see the $161,700,
Yep.
okay? That is to repair and replace, okay? If you see the orange tab I've got there, go to that orange tab, then there's a net add of $15,500, okay, this is option one, and this would be to mill the whole road down, do a long binder, okay? Easy, so it's most likely that's gonna be what has to get done, because it's
Bad.
it's pretty bad. So this is the option that's, is going to have to be done. So, and if you flip to my final page, I made a little quick spreadsheet up. It's super simple. I made my own little cost analysis because these are the numbers I got from SLT, 161.7, 15.5 for the adder. Clean the drainage system, they had $2,000 originally. I threw 2,500 at that. The monuments, they had 300 apiece, I think 350 apiece, just for escalation. They had $1 per linear square foot, I made $6. And I actually threw a 10% contingency, not 15%, because we already know the hard numbers. The road, the drainage is working fine, everything's fine, because I spoke to Steve Hayward, they've been cleaning the drains, they've been taking care of the road, with the exception of the binder all these years, so it's not like everything's clogged up. The biggest thing is we just got to cut all the trees out of them.
Retention pond.
Correct, so that's in here as well, like if you see the remove trees and stuff, 10 grand, which I don't think it's gonna cost that, but that said, I have a number of 220,552. I got a bond for 225,000. I will do the bond. Should go bonds from here. It's costing me $4,300, which is crazy because this is. I'll never get my money back for this lot in a million years. It's horrible, but I need to get the road done. So if I could put money down, the cash thing, but at the end of the day, I'll pay the $4,300 for the bond for 225,000. So everything's right there. These costs are. It's accurate. So. And I'll, hopefully, I want to get on SLT's board for the spring, so you get it done right away.
Right.
I actually just repaired we had that steel cover in the road. I had them come down last week, Mike, this week?
Yeah.
Last week, wait,
2 weeks.
no, the other day, the other couple days ago. They fixed it, got rid of the steel plate and.
Who are you dealing with at SLT, Peter?
Mike,
Mike, his
Yeah.
brother.
what's that?
Oh, this is Mike, his brother? Well, I know it's Peter Obashinsky.
Okay, yeah, so, anyway, those are real hard numbers, it's, I don't anticipate it will not be more than 225,000, no way. But I'm guessing it's somewhere gonna be in the 210 to 220 range for me to take care of the road, so. I just don't want this to drag out, I just wanna get it done, it's simple, easy peasy. You guys may not know construction, it's what I do. So I've got a company, I got 150 employees, so it's not, this is easy, so.
Could I ask, not to get specific, but Mr. Brennan, do these numbers look realistic? Just, without doing an actual, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you take SLTs and you add the 10%, that's, the reason why we add the contingency, the reason why my numbers would be more than his, it's a private entity paying a contractor. The reason for the bond is if the developer walks away, the town has to do the project. The town has to put it out to bid, so that's where the contingency money comes in. You're paying that for the engineering to put it out to bid. And then you're also paying the higher prices, which I take from the Mass DOT average bid prices over a 12-month period. Because when the town's doing the work, or a contractor's doing it for the town, they have to pay the
Prevailing
wages.
wage.
So it's about a 40% difference.
40%.
God bless America.
I tell you, if he's paying SLT 220, the town would be paying somebody 350 probably. It's just the way it is.
Okay. So are we saying if we went the deposit route instead of the bond route, that he wouldn't be able to just put up the 220? That wouldn't suffice for us. We'd have to put up like the 3 something.
If that's not gonna suffice, I am not doing this. Just wanna let you guys know.
Yeah.
This will form back on your plate. There's no way I'm gonna shell out $350,000 or get a bond for that. It's ridiculous. I have to get it now as a resident. So
Right.
this is pretty simple. Let's just keep it friendly, get it over with. And it's pissing me off to spend $4,300, to be perfectly honest, but that said, I don't mind. I think it's need to set a precedence going forward. Yes, whatever you think the numbers should be, but this is fair. This is getting done. I'm not moving anywhere.
Yeah.
So I live there. It's not like you're gonna come down and knock on my door. I'm not,
Yeah, it's owner
Kevin
occupancy.
Spellman, God rest his soul, trying to chase him around for years and years to get the road done. That was never, ever, ever gonna get done, unfortunately.
I chased him 20 years ago.
Yeah, so, but there's no way I'm gonna, just so everybody knows, I will not do it. I'll walk out tonight and the road will stay like it is. I just wanna, I'm not trying to play hardball, I'm being a good person here, so.
So,
Do we have the option to do this that way?
Yeah.
Because I'm inclined to do it, because I want to get this over with.
And
It's up to the
board's
plan- it's up to the
decision.
planning
It's
board,
the
right?
planning board's
Okay,
decision.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear that there was no other obstacle in the way.
Tom, when you say, do we have the option to do it this way, what do you mean? Like, clarify that for me.
Doing the 225,000 and getting a bond for 225.
Oh, yeah,
And living with that as opposed to trying to get a 350 bond or something.
Right.
Better than
Or
we
a
have now.
$350,000 deposit.
Yeah,
instead.
which
Right.
isn't going to happen anyway.
And it's gonna get.
No,
done.
but I'm
I
glad.
understand, it's just, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I'm just trying to find, I don't even wanna have to pay it, but you know what? I understand why we have to do it in this situation, because it needs to be, a precedence needs to be set. I don't know how it goes now with the roads, but it's crazy, you know what I mean? Developers, I don't know how,
This
how
isn't
many
the
honest
only-
ones are there, but,
This isn't the only one.
I know that, exactly, so it tells you that there's a
It's
pattern.
the only one in our town.
I would hate to get 26 miles and bail on point 2 when we're following the process. It's just that the number for the bond is, there might be some discrepancy for prevailing wages purposes, but the whole point is we shouldn't even have to deal with that, because you're basically like buying commercial property as an owner occupant, you know what I mean, not just as an investment. So
I'm not doing anything with the lot right now, that's
Right.
for sure. So we can hold the lot and the 225 bond at that point, it really doesn't matter, I'm not gonna do anything, but it's just,
Right.
In looking at the end of the road, so to speak, where are we? I mean, to say, as far as his, Mr. Sylvester's attorneys and town council, and his council, have they got back to you that this sounds good or bad? I thought that you were in,
It's really it's up to you guys, you know, we kind of gave you where we recommend. If you wanna go in a different direction, you can. And if you agree to something like this, then, you know, we'll let you know once we receive the bond, then you could release the covenant and go from there.
I would like to make a motion that
I just have a couple more questions if you didn't. Bottom line, then, I know it was made mention at the last meeting, if can an account be created to, for the road to get peer reviewed when we don't have a application in front of us?
And you just create a revolving account.
Well, that's what I mean, create it with whom? You know, we don't have,
So we have a planning board revolving account. So if you had something that needed to be reviewed, like you would do with any other project, you would get a proposal from, you know, Pat or whoever, and then whatever that is we would ask that to be paid. It would go in the revolving account. Money that comes in would be used to pay the.
okay, so in this stage of trying to work this out, knock on wood, we could do that.
Yes.
You could, although I don't know what you would be asked. So I think you need to be clear on what you'd want the engineer to do, because one of the things that Rich and I suggested that you do is the engineer to provide a cost estimate. But it sounds like you've already agreed on a number that you'd be looking to get, whether through a bond or a deposit. So what would you want, Mr. Brennan, or?
Just a peer engineer on the engineering.
Just
so
a
that
peer
we know that
engineer,
it's
right.
Yeah,
That's it.
basically just to review the quote.
I don't think he needs to say how much it's gonna cost. We're SLTs giving him the cost. We just need to set up a revolving account, do peer engineering like we usually do on our projects and move on.
Planning board's discussion.
Yeah. it is.
And I would like to make a motion if we're ready to go for this.
Sure.
Perfect. So I would like to make a motion that we allow Mr. Bruce Sylvester to move forward with the project on Delia Way, where he acquires a bond for the estimated amount of $220,000. Where are you? Last page. $220,550.20 in order to be able to move forward in the spring with the completion of Delia Way.
Where we'll then, so can I add something? Where we'll then release the covenant so that he can finish the road and move on.
Right.
Depending on verification by our peer
Peer
review
review.
Correct.
engineer.
Yeah,
Which I would just
Right,
assume is
we
all the
want
due
that
diligence
in
of the
there,
process. Right?
language-wise,
of course,
I should think.
of course.
It-
So a revolving account is just set up with the town where it's a fee for the town's engineer to make sure that SLT has everything that's in the best interest of the town. So that's what happens.
okay.
That.
So we have a motion.
Do you see
I'll
any
second
problems
it.
with that at all? Good?
It's up to the.
It's up to the planning
It's a
board.
decision for the planning board, right? But-
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
One discussion point, should we
Mhm.
make sure that he has the deed in hand before we do all this? Like you getting the deed from this,
Oh,
the
yeah, once I have
probate?
the deed, it'll be
Yeah.
it'll coincide with getting the bond. I have a bond company for my
Right.
trucks, so that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Can you get the deed
No,
without
that,
it? I was
yeah, we
gonna
need
say.
this and then
Well,
he'll
once they
show us
provide
that he
the
has the
bond,
deed.
then-
Yeah, I can do it, we can do it, it doesn't really.
He's not gonna do it without.
Once he provides the bond, it releases it.
Bond or deposit.
Yeah,
We'll let you know that it's been received. Then you guys can put it on your agenda to
Release the covenant.
release the covenant. Then you would be able, the property would then be able to be.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, fair enough, makes sense.
why doesn't that sound
Semantics
fair?
at this point.
It sounds perfect.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's important. I mean, the semantics are important, but at
Yep.
this point, it's just semantics.
It's
And
all-
we are
exactly.
now at 26.1, so let's vote.
Let's go.
22.1 and a half.
It's motioned and seconded.
There is a motion and a second. I'm gonna ask for a voice vote. Brendan,
Brendan Elliott, yes.
Amy,
Amy Troop, yes.
myself, yes, Tom,
Tom Ilias, yes.
and Rick.
Yeah, Rick Mary, yes.
Passes unanimous.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Leave it, that's all you want.
Good job.
You'll have that bond tomorrow.
And we'll be in touch. That's great. Boy, not done with it.
He should be citizen of the year.
Yeah.
We'll put a statue out afterwards, right at the end of that street.
Thanks for coming down. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that.
There's just a lot of unknowns there that didn't seem to make sense, so that's
Yes,
good.
well, there were a lot of unknowns, at least instead of guessing, and,
Cleared it up.
yeah, bingo.
Cleared it
Awesome.
up.
Wow, that's great. All right, let's move on. We'll get back to PSPR 24-2, 01 Street, map 95, lot 10, site plan review. And who do we have speaking on this, please?
Warren Brady Consulting, representing the applicants, Kerry and Pearson. Should I post my plans?
Would
or
you,
I'm gonna-
yeah, you could post them and then, sure.
No, we don't.
Do we have to do that? No, it doesn't have.
I mean, unless they're, did you send a digital version of it?
Yeah, but that's okay, it's
Okay.
just as easy to do, thank you.
Yeah, cause I could put it up right there.
You know, I did this for the Concom last week, and flipping through
Oh.
PDFs wasn't easy.
Gotcha.
The files are really large, so they're real slow at generating. I need to see this too.
Yeah.
So again.
Your name again, sir? for the
Kevin
record?
Grady from Grady Consulting, representing the applicants. The applicants are proposing a mini self-storage facility at 0 Monpont Street. We were here a year ago and presented
So
this.
we've seen this once before.
Yeah, we presented a preliminary plan, very similar to this. So, you know, currently this is vacant land on Route 58, here's the Plimpton Town line. So it's a wooded lot. We're here before you tonight for, the applicant seeking site plan approval, and we also need a special permit. Site plan approval, obviously, for the commercial building. The use is an allowed use in the industrial zone, which the site is located. The special permit is, due to the number of square feet of the buildings. Anything over 15,000 square feet requires a special permit from the planning board. The proposed facility is 30,800 square feet of single floor buildings. 400 square foot of that is office.
The smaller one in the front there?
Yeah, right in the front here.
Oh, that one, okay.
Yeah. So we're proposing seven separate buildings, varying square footages. The site has 24-foot aisles around through the entire site, around the perimeter and between each building, showing here how emergency vehicles can maneuver around the facility. 24-foot wide aisles, and that's a subdivision road or a, standard street, so there's plenty of room to get vehicles in and out of here. The layout complies with horizontal dimensional control. We're showing we have a table here detailing the proposed, the existing, and the required setbacks. So we comply with all the various horizontal setbacks. Just go back here for a quick sec. This plan, it was raining at the conservation meeting last night. So the lot.
Really? There was a leak or
Well, on my
something?
way in,
Oh,
so everything got. So it's a long triangular lot. We're working mainly in the frontage, along the frontage here. We did meet with the Conservation Commission, as I said, the commission closed their hearing. They are in favor of what we're showing at this point. We basically maintained their 50-foot no disturb zone. They withheld issuing orders of conditions and finalizing the plans till we work the details out with you guys, so that we didn't have to go back with any kind of revised plans. They're basically on board pending stormwater. In accordance with your zoning bylaw, the parking requires 17 spaces. We have 6 dedicated parking spaces. Generally in these types of uses, nobody utilizes those spaces. They park at their bay and they unload and then they leave. However, if somebody has to do some business here, we have a few spaces. The employee, there'll probably be one that would, conduct the daily business here. So it requires 17 spaces. We have 5 and a handicap space as well that has direct access here. As far as trip generation goes, these uses also don't generate significant traffic. It's not a convenience store or a hardware store, Lowe's, Dunkin' Donuts, anything like that. I submitted a trip generation basically on a weekday. You can see up to 44 trips spread out through the entire day. On a Saturday, trips are somewhere between 54 and 64, probably assuming full occupancy and things. Peak hour is about 5 trips per hour on both the weekday and the weekend in accordance with the trip generation. So it's not a high traffic situation. This road, it's well maintained, has good sight distance. We're not going 5 trips or 54 trips a day is not going to have an adverse impact to the traffic on Route 58 in this area.
can it have a radius for big moving trucks?
Yes, so we are proposing 24-foot wide entryway with 30-foot radiuses, and we're proposing granite curbing to the lot line.
How many units are you talking?
No, so they're kind of variable,
Right,
and I don't think they're
something
fully
small,
the same.
medium, and large type
Yes,
thing?
yes.
And
So
it-
how many are there?
I don't think that has been decided yet, so I'm not sure.
They get kind of configured at the time.
Most of them will be 10 by 10s, and then there'll be some 5 by 10s. So if they're all 10 by 10s, it'd be 304. But I think you'll see more like 320, 325, 324 actually.
How about access for the emergency vehicles, fire engines, that type of thing?
Sure. We took the turning template from the fire department and we.
Yeah, how about on the site? Plenty to get around?
Yes.
Well, that was my
It's
whole
24
thing with the
feet
moving
moving.
trucks too, is like, can they get in and
Yeah.
around?
I don't
Like,
think you're really gonna see large moving trucks. I guess if you did have one, I mean, it's easy to get in here and back out and things. This is, as I indicated, every aisle is 24 feet. The entire perimeter is 24 feet, which is a public way.
That's big.
in between the buildings is,
Yeah, those are also 24s.
Yeah, it's a big truck.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you're gonna have an 18-wheeler in there, but if you needed to get a box truck, like a moving U-Haul back there, you're gonna be able to get it in there in 24 feet. That's like a regular subdivision road.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that
unless you're-
standard? It's probably
Yeah.
standard.
Well, unless you're trying to shrink the road to 20 feet instead of 24, but that's a different line item.
Are these, how many employees in the office?
Probably it's one.
Typically one, but eventually, ultimately, it'll be nobody. It should be completely computer generated.
Oh, so this is it,
Future will be automated.
I'm sorry, I didn't even ask your name. Yes, sir.
That's McPherson.
So would there be access 24 hours? If it was-
Eventually, yes.
I'm doing a few of these, and that is, I have one in Marshfield going on, basically looks like an extra space building, and that's where they're going with it too. They have an employee to get it set up and run, but then they're gonna have a kiosk system, basically to get you in and out of your storage unit.
I mean, it is in the industrial park, industrial area, way out in the middle of nowhere. What do you have for lighting or security lighting or that's proposed?
So currently, we're not proposing any lighting around the buildings. They don't even want to put electricity to these units, they're just gonna be doors. I've sent out for lighting plans anyway, but the manufacturers are inundated currently, and they haven't produced the plan, so I don't have that generated yet. And your plan is still not to have lighting, right? Although if we're
Lighting
gonna go
outside, not
24.
lighting inside. The
Lighting, okay.
interior of the bays won't be lighted at all. There'll be
So
no
my-
electricity, no gas, no heat, no anything.
But the outside area,
Outside all-
security was.
Correct.
My rep, I emailed last week and this week, and they haven't gotten it. We'll bring it to the next hearing, or I'll submit it, I'm assuming.
The only other thing, my own concern, we have a unit storage place right on 106, and if you drive by it, you see boats, trailers, campers. There wouldn't be any parking outside or storage of vehicles
Absolutely.
on the property.
No, it's all in.
You can make that a condition.
I would like to have that as in there.
Yep.
The one on 106 looks horrible.
No,
It just looks
it's-
absolutely
it's-
horrible.
No,
Well, one good thing about the lighting is there's nothing down there to have anybody complaining about much of it.
Yes, yeah, but that's huge, yeah.
Are you gonna put them on the units, or are you gonna have
On the
poles?
units.
On the units.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I requested a lighting plan basically with 2 or 3 lights per aisle, alternating with hooded lights that cast down.
That's what I
Yeah,
saw.
shielded, yeah.
Yeah. Drove by the one in Plimpton on the way here, and they built that before hooded lights was a thing, and so the whole cover and bulb is exposed and shines light outward instead of just down. We run into this all the time now with night sky compliant
Yeah.
lighting, so everything's.
Yeah, everybody's got that in their bylaws now.
Yep.
What are we doing for stormwater management on this?
Let me, stormwater sheet. I guess this is as slow as the, the stormwater is essentially catch basins throughout the site. We have a number of catch basins that will collect the water. These are long, narrow buildings with flat slabs. So in order to collect the water in between these units, we needed quite a few inlets, because you can't really get a steep, long run
Right.
between the units, because this is a flat slab, you'd be stepping up into the unit, and we need to actually be able to walk straight in. So and I have a sheet with profiles, basically showing we have a little over 1% of hills in between each one of these. So if you look here, this is a low point, 99.1, then we have a high point, 99.4, 99.1, and so you get a little rise, and then you go down to a dip, and then obviously these are flat. So those are routed through manholes and then to a large infiltration basin on the north side here. We also have roof drains, so the gutters are connected to subsurface storage chambers between several of the units. So the roofs are considered clean water. We can discharge those directly. We don't have to treat that water to remove any sediment or anything like that. So we separated those out. So the roofs connect to these and then they overflow off-site. We also, so catch basins to a basin here, and then it's routed through a series of manholes down to this large infiltration basin. We have a swale across the front to direct any water that's not on the pavement down this way, and also a swale here to keep water from going to this neighbor's property, and then another swale here. So basically, subsurface storage and infiltration, and a large infiltration basin. I did receive comments from your peer review engineer. I have not had a chance to fully address them. I reviewed them and we actually discussed them, and we're in agreement on the adjustments we need to make. So I'll be doing that in the next week or two. Take care of that. So we also have a dumpster on site. Typically required, but you gotta be careful that they don't over stuff it with storage things. I'm sure there'll be signage all over because it costs the owners to get rid of that. So the site is to be enclosed completely with an 8-foot high black vinyl chain link fence to keep people out who want to steal stuff. The front, we're proposing an aluminum decorative fence. So aluminum decorative fence and gate, basically slats, so the front looks decent.
All across
All across.
58?
Yep. We are proposing landscape of the front. We have several trees along the frontage here. We do get a comment from the highway department that they don't like these maples because of the large canopies. We're gonna revise that to something that's more of a conical, taller, narrower type tree that will not impact any vehicles in the way. And we'll run that by the DPW, make sure they're okay with that. So it's gonna look good from the front, and then we're gonna wrap it in the back. It's surrounded by woodlands currently. To the north side is a large electrical easement.
Right.
And to the south is Plimpton, and currently that's vacant land. Stormwater.
Assuming it'll be zipped up with security system and security cameras and all that too, right?
Yep, and they're going to have a standard lease agreement for all these, no hazardous materials, things of that nature that when you sign on this, you have to agree to. No vehicles. We've got comments from building department about vehicle storage, fire department about vehicle storage. If we do, so we're not applying for that into this application. If we do want to do that at some point in the future for whatever reason, we'll have to refile and meet fire code, etc. Commercial garages require drain systems and
Suppression.
yep, and tight tanks. I submitted a brief basically detailing how we conform with the special permit, but ultimately a special permit requirement is that the use is not to be detrimental to the established or future character of the town. I don't think that this project is going to be detrimental to the town. Again, it's gonna look good, it's got access, fire safety, stormwater, etc.
So specifically, the special permit you're asking for is in the size of the building, right? The square footage.
Correct.
And what was the total square footage again that you were gonna have?
With each building.
30,800 total.
I'm sorry, say that again?
30,800.
But you'd be looking for each individual building that exceeds the limit, right?
15.
No single building exceeds the 15. My reading of it is that all floors of all
Okay.
buildings requires the special permit.
Special permit.
What's the smaller building going to accommodate?
You can rent it if you'd like.
It's same thing,
Yeah.
same size?
Yeah,
same-
we're basically just trying to get as much square footage. Square footage turns into dollars, but we
Yeah.
also need to be able to
Get around.
get around and attenuate stormwater.
So there'd be no chance of having antique cars or cars with garages being garage?
The smallest building that's shown on there can be broken up into 10x10s or 5x10s. That's where I said the discrepancy from 304 units to 320-ish units. We're just undecided how many of the smaller units we want to build. But either way, every unit's only 10 feet deep, so you can't get a car in the 10-foot depth. Maybe a smart car, but you're not gonna get a normal vehicle in the 10 feet.
And I'd just like to phrase it that they're not applying for that right now. At some point in the future, if they wanted to do that, they could ask for an amendment. It's not in their business model now, but I don't like to tell anybody. It'll never happen.
Never say never.
Yeah.
Rick, do you have any questions about drainage or anything like that with as it look?
Well, no, you know, from looking at it from here, no, I mean, Pat, you already looked over it anyway, right?
Yeah.
And, in the conservation, so.
Do we have that report?
Yeah, sure.
I did send it to, I think I sent it to Danielle, because I sent it to her and the conservation person as well, Peggy.
Yeah, Peggy was on there.
Do you have it?
In my original comments, there was, and I think you didn't see the two on the last page.
Okay.
They were basically on the stormwater. You guys actually hit on the other couple of comments I had, which was the lighting plan and the swept path analysis for the fire department. There's also a requirement in the site plan that you're supposed to have a plan that shows, just do an aerial photograph, shows properties within 300 feet. It's probably all woods anyway, but it's one of the requirements.
I don't have it in mind.
And then the only other comment, you know, as far as you guys are concerned, there's a provision in your bylaw where the buildings have to be, the slab of the building has to be 2 feet above the road. It requires,
Within 125 feet of this.
right, it requires an awful lot of fill in this project. They're filling up to 6 feet, almost over the whole thing. So I asked for a cut and fill analysis, just so you know how much material is gonna come in to construct the project. So you know what's gonna be there for truck traffic and so forth. You
Yeah,
know, it's on the
that came up the last time, because I remember thinking the elevations were not gonna be
Yeah.
particularly helpful.
And they, you know, in order to make the stormwater work, they have to pick it up anyway, because
Right.
it's
To get-
wetlands right out back and the groundwater's pretty high.
And to get the underground piping in and everything.
But other than that, you know, they, like Kevin said, they comply with all the setbacks. I didn't look at the landscape, I'll take another look at the landscaping requirements just to make sure that they comply, but from what I looked at, everything else complied. The biggest things were the stormwater, which Kevin and I had a conversation today about. And I think conservation isn't hearing that until the 13th of January or something, so we'll make sure we work everything out before that.
So when we see you again, we'll have an updated plan with everything incorporated in it.
Correct.
Which would be till the 13th of January?
That's compound.
No, our next meeting is January 2nd
Yeah, but I thought he said he needed till,
No,
for conservation.
Conservation.
that's when they're hearing it, so we have to have all of our stuff done before that meeting. We have to, I think the conservation meeting is,
It's probably the 13th.
Seventeenth.
We're the 16th. Well, we're the 2nd, and then the 16th. Almost like we should continue it to
14th.
after conservation, right?
Conservation would be the 7th, because they're on Tuesday, so it'd be the 7th to the 14th.
14th.
Okay.
Alright, so we can hear it in our second meeting.
Yeah, the second meeting in January is the 16th, and then that way it wouldn't be like going back and forth. Unless you want to come the day after New Year's.
How's the 16th sound?
Just for fun.
Party still going on?
And in the meantime, you'll have all that information sent over to Danielle?
Yeah, I thought I had sent it, but I'll make sure that I.
Just a quick question, Kevin, you said 30,800 square feet?
Correct.
It says 30,400 in this, I'm just,
So that's the storage, there's a 400-foot office.
Office.
okay.
Um,
I did.
so
I just want to, make sure everything's
Yeah.
good.
Okay, so at this point, we need a motion to continue.
We'll continue the site plan for Assessor's Lot 95-10 to January 16th, 2025 at 7 PM.
2025. All right,
Good catch.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of you continuing till the January 16th, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous.
Great. Cool. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Nice. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice to see you.
You too.
All right, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Nice to see you guys.
Okay, let's move on.
I know you don't remember, but I used to watch you and your brothers play hockey at the Hingham Ring.
We'll,
Matt,
Good to see you,
Thank
man.
you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, what's his,
he's down in Florida, he's been down there about 15 years.
oh, good.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
You talking to him?
Yeah, yeah,
What time is that?
yeah.
He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was crazy fast.
I don't know, I've seen crazy. All right.
Yeah.
all right, we'll go on with a continuation of the hearing for 300 Plymouth Street for a special permit application. Would that be you, sir?
Yes.
Would, your name and for the record, please?
Do we need to open it again or read it again or anything like that? Just curious, since we're,
It can hurt. It cannot
Do you want me to-
hurt. Yeah.
do you want me to
Yeah,
read it?
that'd be great, please.
Jonathan Jamolis, 29 Highland Circle.
I thought I just saw it. Oh, there it is. Oh, no. Oh, you know what, we didn't read the. This is the one that we have in here, because we already opened that one. This is the hearing we didn't legally open.
Which one is that?
That's the one that just left.
Oh, okay.
So we're already open on that, so I think what you did was good. So motion to open the hearing for 300 Plymouth Street,
Right.
and then you need a second.
Second.
Thank you. And then,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Yes, sir.
Jonathan Jamolis, 29 Highland Circle, Halifax. So looking for a permit to keep those decals on the windows. I understand that it's supposed to be
30%, yeah.
30% of the window space, so the whole glass. Our unofficial, unprofessional calculation is 41. So we're talking 11%. I'm pleading ignorance to not getting a permit to begin with. This is our third change to that window sticker. Started with a $6 cheese pizza, $7 cheese pizza sticker, and now this one is trying to get more attention to the plaza. We've asked the landlord in the past for a bigger sign. He said no. There's a small pylon out front, and that sign that you have, I don't know if you use that.
I think it's only 40 square foot for
It's pretty small, and it's a drive-by area too, you know, so it's trying to get some attention to the plaza.
thank you.
I live in the town, I wouldn't want to put anything embarrassing up. I understand the rule, you know, convenience stores, you know, the lottery signs you see everywhere, and the Budweiser signs, I feel like this is a designed, tasteful decal, I'd like to keep it. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Is the consideration of the percentage of the sign, if you were to take an outline perimeter, is that what's considered?
Yes, that's what the bylaw says.
Because those look like pretty individual letters with some
Yep.
empty space in between, which doesn't really take
It
up.
doesn't, and Ed agrees with you.
Yeah.
That, but however, nevertheless,
Yeah.
our bylaw does say, outer perimeter measurement.
Outer perimeter, okay.
Yep.
So that was the back and forth.
Yeah, whether it's
that we were-
square or whether it's round, that was Ed's whole point.
I
As
got
much as he disagrees with it.
Yeah,
it is
yeah, I
that it's nevertheless, that's our bylaw.
So what we would have to do is grant the request for a special permit, considering the fact that our bylaws are perimeter based, and you know, if we really wanted to go down there with a ruler, we could say all that negative space would probably gonna drop him under that 11% that he's over. So we could potentially give him that special permit based off of that logic.
Right, but according to.
The bylaws would
the bylaw-
require
yeah, you're
a
right.
special permit, which is why.
And that's the building inspector's whole
Got it.
point.
Yep.
You know, couldn't agree with you more, he said.
Yeah, right.
For the most part.
Yep.
However,
Yeah,
you know, let me ask you a question, is this something where it's gonna change on a regular basis? Like you said before, you had the pizza
Yeah.
before and this one, so is this like a forever advertisement, or is this gonna be like for the next 6 months or another year, and then you're gonna try something different?
Much too expensive for a 6-month. This is a couple $1,000s, so this is permanent.
It's a tough one, because we're setting a precedent.
Well, that's what a special permit is, right, though? It's a
It's a permanence.
Well, it's an exception to.
it's an exception to a permanent, you know, precedent.
Oh, what's the feeling of the board?
Just give me a second.
Brendan, what are you thinking? Are you thinking,
I mean, you know, obviously, if you wanted to, you know, slap the back of the hand with a ruler for not filing for the special permit to begin with, fine, but obviously he came in and acknowledged that. I personally would approve or motion that we would give him the special permit personally, because the empty space, okay. Building inspector's point, which he agrees with my point, is the empty space doesn't take up 41%, right? If you took out the empty space there. But our bylaws do say that, so because of that, I think this is a perfect example of why there's even a special permit option to apply for in regards to a bylaw. This is something that I think falls directly into that category. So I would motion to move forward with a special
Tom?
permit.
I think it's far enough off the street, and, you know, in the spirit of trying to help businesses survive and stay in town, we don't need any more empty retail space, for sure. I don't have a problem with it. It does kind of jump out at you, but I guess that's the whole intent.
It's not a Bob's Discount Furniture sign, so.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Rick, you have a comment? Anything on it?
No, I mean, can't see it from my house.
Okay, no, that was. How about you, Amy?
I don't see a problem with giving a special permit where we've given a special permit to 416 Plymouth Street to have an extra sign on their property. You know, we gave them a special sign out front to have a large sign, and now we're gonna hold him on 11% of one window. I think Cape Cod Pizza is very loved by a lot of people in town. I don't think that there's any issue.
Only the Greek pizza.
I just was looking at our bylaw. I don't see where it states the perimeter for.
Yeah, it says it.
Well, no, I'm looking for it. I'm just saying I don't see it. I didn't say it wasn't in here.
Like I feel like if it was Cape Cod, if it was Cape Cod Cafe, if white lettering, and you had this big blue thing behind it, right, and that acted as the whole perimeter, then it's like, okay, I get it, right? That's taking up the whole window, right? But with this, with the negative space, negative space is the word I was looking for. With all that negative space in there, now we're starting to count hairs here.
It says about the window.
If I may, the negative space is a negative space.
Yeah,
It's an unofficial
Of
calculation
course.
of 14%.
So that's why I'm like, come on. I don't know if you watched the last hearing, but
My brother-
I was very,
It's
yeah, I was
always been
very passionate
interpreted
about
as the
Continuous
entirety of the
perimeter,
signage, not the individual letters, but the entirety of the
Yeah.
signage. But again, I don't find it.
But see, I would argue that this measurement of the continuous perimeter is to do with like an actual sign and not a window sign. You know what I mean?
Well, they have specific windows, I think it's on the page.
I mean, you could also really, if he wanted to, he could argue, well, Cape is its own sign, so you can take that perimeter, but the negative space in between the Cape and the cod cannot be considered a sign, and then the cod
I mean,
would
because
be
that's
its
all
own.
under the freestanding sign
It's-
stuff.
Well, here's the thing with all bylaws, they're all subject to interpretation by everybody.
Right.
And this, to your point earlier, and others, the special permit process is there to help in those areas. where
Right.
You need a little help. I don't have a problem with it. Like I said,
You
it
know what
jumps
I mean?
out at you.
Because then you get into this and, you know, it does not say how to measure the windows like that, because that's not a signed
Yes.
surface. That's my only thought process. But I would be very willing to second a motion from you.
Yeah. I just think, and to,
I think it's fine.
to his point, he was saying with a rough estimate, if you were to take the negative space out, that's about a 14% swing, which would actually put him within regulation, which again brings us back to the exact reason why we have a special permit process. So, not to be out of order or to cut anybody off, but in the, nature of
Would you like to
time.
put that in the form?
I would
of a motion,
love to put
please?
it in the form of
Thank
a
you.
motion, sure. I'd like to motion that we grant the special permit to 300 Plymouth Street for the application of the signage on the front of their retail space.
I'll second.
300 encompasses the whole building, so make it specific.
In regards
Cape
to
Cod.
Cape Cod Cafe.
And do I have a second?
I have a second. I'm
I
sorry.
have a motion and a second. Now, what do we need for a simple majority on this?
Yeah, but you should have a roll call on a
Oh,
special.
I'm gonna
permit.
definitely have a roll call, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's all that's needed.
I think
On a
we need,
special
we don't
permit.
need a 4-0. I think we need a
You
4.
might- you-
Yeah, we
you
need a
might need
4-0 because
supermajority, right.
remember we couldn't
Yeah,
do
you're
that.
right. You're
Yeah,
right.
we need a 4-0. Remember
You're
that
right.
meeting we couldn't do it?
Oh.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Supermajority for a special permit.
We need
All
a
right,
4-0.
so we have a motion on the floor and a second to accept the petition regarding Cape Cod Cafe. I'm gonna call for a roll call vote. Brendan?
Brendan Elliott, yes?
Amy?
Amy Troop, yes?
Thomas?
Tom Ellis, yes?
Richard?
Rick Mary, yes.
And myself, yes. Anonymous. Anonymous, unanimous. Anonymous. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Free
Merry
pizzas
Christmas.
next meeting, I want a free pizza.
All right, let's do, smash, there goes Bert. Ah, that didn't work.
Yeah, minutes.
I'm on the ends, that's my responsibility.
Thank you very
Yours.
much. All right, let's move on to the minutes of November 21st, 2024. Anybody have any changes, corrections, deletions?
Any?
I have none.
No.
Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of November 7th, 2024 as presented?
Moved.
In a second?
Second.
So voting on this is Rick,
Yeah, not me.
myself, Amy, and Brendan. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
And one abstention. 3-0 to 1. Okay, any other scheduled business? That's all I have. We have no bills, we have, life is good. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
In a second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Gotta love the
Thank-
Christmas spirit. See how easy that was?